How's it going, YouTube? And welcome back to the grid. And I'm your host, Cardfight Grid. And today we have an exciting V Premium deck profile for you guys. And it's not just V Premium, it's actually also a premium deck profile. It's showing new players and just people that are just not new to TCGs, but new to Vanguard that want to know how much it'll cost to make a pretty decent deck in both formats, and also just that you can actually make a V deck in one format and convert it to the other, and it's not as expensive as you think as buying a newer deck. So this so yeah, let's get into it, my V Premium Dungaree deck profile turning to premium. So first we're going to start off with 4 Dungaree. Now he has a auto on Vanguard. At the beginning of your battle phase, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can go ahead and bind the top card of your deck. And also you can also on Rearguard and Vanguard auto, when it attacks, you go ahead and send all cards from your bind zone into your discard, and then you activate the following effects as how many cards you send. So if you send 2 or less, you're gonna get minus 10k, minus crit, and minus 2 drive. If you send 4 or more, your opponent has to bind a card from their hand. If you send 5 or more, you get to choose 3 cards from your drop and put them back to your deck and shuffle your deck. So it's he's also a grade 3 with Excel with the Excel gift, 17k base, which is really nice, and 2 crit, and he has triple drive. So the main thing about this deck is that you want to bind your own stuff. Yeah, you want to bind your opponents as well in the process if you can, but most importantly, you want to bind your own. That triple drive actually comes in handy. This is a very strong but simple deck, which is really nice. So it's easier for newcomers to get the hang of it. So we run a playset of him, and he's going for 50 cents right now, actually, which is really nice. And we're also going to play 2 Jaggy Shot Dragoon. He has on Rearguard and Vanguard. When this unit attacks, you can go ahead and bind a card from your hand. If you do, you can bind one of your opponent's front row rear guards, and if your opponent has no front row rear guards, then you can go ahead and draw a card. And then his second skill we don't really care about, but it's at the end of the battle. If you have a Vanguard with Vanquisher in its name, you can put this card into the soul and draw a card. We don't run Vanquisher in this deck, in the V Premium deck, so don't really worry about it. Worry more about the first effect, just so you can bind your opponent's rear guards and also get a draw off of it, which is nice, and you bind a card in your hand, so it pays tribute into Dungaree's effect. So we only run 2 of him, and he goes for 25 cents each. And also that's it for our grade 3s. For our grade 2s, we're going to play 1 Fiendish Sword Eradicator cho-ou. He's going for 9 cents right now. He has win place. You may counterblast 1, choose a column, and bind the front row rear guard, and then you move the back row rear guard of that column to the front row. And also once per turn on rear guard, at the end of battle your Vanguard attacks, you can go ahead and counterblast 1. And if your opponent has no front row rear guards, you can counterblast 1 and stand this unit. So it's well, we only run 1 because it's hit on the ban list, so it's limited to 1. So we go ahead and use it. It's really good. As you can see, it's hit to 1, so it's our only way to actually get main phase binds off from our opponent to bind their units, and it's just additional swing, which is really nice. So we play 1 of him, and then we also play a full play set of Dragon Knight Sharp, which is $1.25 right now, I believe. And he has, when this unit is placed on Rearguard or Guardian Circle, you may Soul Blast 1, bind a card in your hand, and your opponent binds a card in their hand too, and both of you guys draw a card. and he has a continuous skill. If a card was bound this turn, then he gets plus 5k attack and 5k power and 5k shield, which is really nice. Just the binding effect is nice too. Just a lot of these effects, a lot of these units have effects to bind cards in your hand, and also just to basically filter your hand and let it go to the bind zone, but it also does a minus U hand, which is really nice. Plus he gets power, and he's a 10k shield on grade 2, which is nice. And remember, Dungaree is 17k base, so this makes him go to 27 when you're guarding, so it's a really nice card. And we run 4 of him. And then we also run 4 Exorcist Mage Renren. He's going for actually 45 cents right now. And he's just a normal grade 2, 9k power that has, when rolled upon, you can counterblast 1. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You can go ahead and bind 1 and then add 1 to your hand. And he has an active skill once per turn on rearguard. Counterblast 1, bind the top card of your deck. For each grade it had, the bind card, it gets plus 5k power. If it was a grade 0, you get to draw a card. Really nice card. Sometimes you can bind a grade 3. Most of the time you'll be binding grade 2s and 1s. But it's the main thing that you really want to run it for is that it gets you those binds, which is awesome. He's our main grade 2 ride. And yeah, we play 4 of him. And then we run 4 Lightning Cannon Eradicator, let's see, Gunson? Yeah, sorry about that. So he has the effect that when he's in the same column as Lightning Gun Eradicator Ubon, he gets plus 3k power. And then at the end of the attack on Rearguard and Vanguard, at the end of the attack, you can go ahead and, as long as he has the Eradicator gun Ubon behind him, you can counterblast 1, bind the whole column, and then you can draw 2 cards. So you're going to also bind him and the grade 1 that's behind him that pairs with him, and you can go ahead and that gets you a +2 on the bind zone for Dungaree's effect, which is really nice, and it gets you the draw 2. So it's really nice to trade off your field for more hand advantage. And yeah, and the column usually swings for about 23k if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 23k. So it's a 15k shield for 4 sticks, which is nice. So we run 4 of him, and he's going for 5 cents right now. And then we're running 4 of his partner in crime, Lightning Gun Eradicator Ubon. He's going for 25 cents right now, and he has the skill that when he's placed in the same column as the grade 2, you can go ahead and countercharge 1, and he gets plus 3k if he's in the same column as the grade 2. So it's really nice. Even you just need damage, and basically you can just play him onto the same column as the grade 2 and then countercharge, and you have the counterblast ready for the grade 2's effect. So it's really nice. It sets up itself, and yeah, it works really well in this deck. So for V Premium, this is like the best option we have right now, which is good. So we run 4 of him. And then we also run 3 Exorcist Mage Mew, and she has the skill that's when rolled upon, you can go ahead and look at the top card of your deck and bind it, and if you choose not to bind it, leave it at the top, I believe. And so she's our main right target, but she also has an active rearguard once per turn. You may if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 2 or greater, you may bind a card from your Soul Blast 1, bind a card from your hand, and draw a card. So more hand filtering, and also it's just really good just to have the rolled upon skill, which is really nice. So if you see the top card of your deck and you know it's a trigger, you can go ahead and place down a booster behind her, and then your opponent is going to have to overguard, or you can just use a psychology game and just pretend like it is a trigger. But most of the time you actually want to get that bind. So yeah, because it pays tribute to Dungaree's effect, and you really don't want to have Dungaree's effect go off when it is 2 or less. It really does hurt your momentum. Mew Mew's actually going for 47 cents each right now, so we play 3 of her. And then we run a full playset of Mighty Bolt Dragoon, which is Narukami's grade 3 searcher. Check the top 5 cards of your deck, grab a grade 3 and discard a card, and then it gets plus 5k on rearguard during your turn if any player has bounded a card. So it's really nice. It's mostly just for the grade 3 searching. Yeah, we do get the plus power sometimes, and we just don't want to miss the Dungaree ride, because right into Jaggy Shot it kind of gives away the game to your opponent. So we run a full playset of him. He's actually going for 50 cents right now, so it's really nice. And then for our last grade 1, we actually run 3 Eradicator Demolition Dragon. He's going for about $7.45 right now. He has the rearguard and Vanguard effect. At the end of battle, it boosted our attack. You may bind a card from your opponent's drop, and if you do, or you may draw a card and bind a card from your opponent's drop. And if it's on rearguard, you may put this card into your soul, into your Vanguard sword, which is really nice because he's kind of expensive, but he's really nice because he benefits the deck a lot. And also he gets you soul. When in this deck we actually use a lot of soul for a lot of our units, and he doesn't use counterblast, and he gets you that draw, which is nice. And sometimes you just a lot of these a few of our cards like to disappear at the end of our turn or at the end of battle, which is nice because it leaves us less exposed to rearguard control decks, which is really nice. So we run 3 of him. And then for triggers, we're going to be running a playset of Malevolent Daijin. He's going for 20 cents each right now. He's just our basic crit. And yeah, we just run a full playset of him. And then we also run another full playset of Spark Edge Draco Kid. He's actually going for 78 cents right now. And yeah, we just want to run 8 crit, because if we ever land a hit with Dungaree, that's 3 damage right off the bat, which is really nice. And then for PGs, we're going to be running 4 Wyvern Guard Goals. It's going for around $4 each right now. You can go with the crit sentinels, but I preferably wouldn't, just for the fact that there's numbers out there that are very high, and you sometimes don't want to be able not to guard it just because it's too high. Even though Dungaree has a big base, there is some attacks that you just rather PG and lose 2 cards instead of multiple cards. So we run 4 of him. And for our last one, we also run 4 of the Heal Guardian. So for the Heal Guardian, you can actually go with the normal heals. They're actually going for $1.29 right now. And you can go with the normal heals if you would like, but I would personally stick with the Heal Guardians just for the fact that they're also used for the premium deck and for the V premium deck, and it's really nice because you don't want to get rushed down on your grade 2 turns, because you can be very vulnerable during your grade 1 and 2 turns, and yeah, you don't want to be having a lot of counter blasts or a lot of damage before you get into Dungaree, because once you start taking damage with Dungaree, that's when your defensive triggers kind of shine even better because you're a 17k base. So we run a full playset of him. And then for our starter, run the Barrett Draco Kid, and he's going for 23 cents right now. Just the average starter that on ride, draw a card, and also get a quick shield. And for the newer players, we actually have 1 quick shield in this deck, and they're going for 75 cents right now. And you're going to need this in every deck, so once you buy 1, you're basically set. And then for the markers, I personally will go with Imaginary Gift XL2 front and back. There's one where it has both markers on it. It's just one's on the front, one's on the back, and those are actually going for $1.19 right now. But most of the time with this deck, you want to actually go with XL2. So if you can't find them, you can just go XL2 because you would really prefer the draws. You can go XL1 and try it out and see if you like it, but personally I wouldn't, and so that's why I go with XL2. And so for the V Premium deck, the price will come out to $67.17. And now if you would want to convert this into a premium deck, you would first want to take out the golds, which is the PGs, take out Draco Kit, one Daijin, and also the playset of the grade 1 Eradicate Lightning Gun, and his partner, you will want to take out him as well, a playset of the Lightning Cannon. And then you want to take out the playset of Exorcist Mage Renren, just because we really don't use them. And the last card you would want to take out is 2 Jaggy Shot Dragoons, just for the fact that in our premium list we do not run we have a Vanquisher Stride, but we do not go into it often, so you just want to take those 2 out, and then 8 grade 2s, 4 grade 1s, and 9 triggers. So you take those out, and then you'll be adding, for your grade 1s, you'll be adding 4 of Anastasia. So she's going to be our Sentinel, and so it's Summoning Lightning Dancing Princess Anastasia. She's going for 25 cents each right now, which is amazing. She's a Sentinel grade 1. You have to discard a card and one of your units does not get hit, but she also has Thunderstrike 4, which means if your opponent has 4 bound cards, 4 cards in their bind zone, you can, when she gets retired from Guardian Circle, you can actually draw a card. So yes, you have to discard a card to use her Sentinel effect, but it's also, you basically get it back with the Thunderstrike 4, which is really nice. So we run a full play set of her. And then we also run 1 Rising Phoenix. Rising Phoenix is going for 61 cents right now. Rising Phoenix has the effect that in drop zone, when one of your opponent's rear guards is bound, you may play this card onto your rearguard circle, and it gets plus 3000 K for until the end of turn, which is really nice. It becomes a 21k attacker, or a 21. It becomes an 11k attacker, and also it's just an additional. It's nice to have like additional rearguard that you can get out of nowhere, which is really nice. So we run 1 of it. And that's it for the grade 1s, but for the grade 2s, since he's not limited and premium, we're gonna run 2 of we're gonna run 2 cho-ou, which is 9 cents, and it's the same one that you run from the premium list, or V premium list, which is really nice. So you can have multiple rear guards that can restand. So I run 2 of him. And then we also run a full playset of Dragon Dancer Barca. She's on a at the end of the battle that this unit attacks your opponent's Vanguard, and it's grade 3 or greater, you may Soul Blast 1, bind a card from your hand and draw a card, and choose one of your opponent's I believe it's front row rear guards, and bind it. Choose one of your opponent's back row rear guards and move it to an open front row. So it's there for the hand filtering, and also it's just there for It's just there for mostly for the hand filtering, and then just on attack Soul Blast bind a card, so you can keep your aggression going. But when you bind a card too, I believe you can go ahead and when a rear guard is bound during your turn. Okay. I believe you just want to run 4, so it's a simple cost, simple attack, which is really nice, and let's run 4 of it. And then we also run, so that's for our grade 2s, and they're going for 20 cents each. And we run 3 Eradicator Draconic Descendant Sigma. Don't mind the SPs, we're just pretend they're regular, but we're running 3 of these. They're going for $3 each right now. The reason we don't use the first effect, we use the second effect, even though it's 11k base grade 3. It has a GB1 effect once per turn. You may choose a card from your hand and discard it, and at the end of the battle, when this unit did not hit, you can go ahead and restand them. So with Cho-ou, you have to swing with him first, and then you can restand him after your Vanguard's attack, which is not bad whatsoever. It costs us a counterblast. Same thing with him, but you also have to discard a card with him. But the cool thing about him is that if you swing with your Vanguard first, and you get any triggers like crits, or if you get an over trigger, you can put everything on him, and then your opponent has to take it for sure. Which means, or they have to guard it. If they're at 4 damage and you get a crit, put a crit on him. Your opponent's not gonna guard it. Your opponent's gonna guard it. They're not gonna no guard it. That's what I meant. They're gonna guard it, and then you're gonna get that Counterblast 1 restanding effect off. So it's almost guaranteed. You just need to know how to use it. Don't use it too early. And then also, if you want to pressure your opponent a lot, so when you do, you can go ahead and just pressure them into like 4 or 5 damage, and then so that's when you get a crit on him. You're good to go. They're gonna be literally guarding for a lot. Once you put him on Excel Circuit, he's gonna be swinging for at least 26k with a crit on Excel Circle, and then if you go Excel 1, then he's gonna be swinging for 31. So they're not exactly magic numbers, but they're still really nice numbers. It's really nice to have a rear guard that can restand after your Vanguard's attack. So that's why we run them. So we run 3 of him, and then we also run for our triggers, we run 4 crits, and this is a dragon, I apologize, this is Dragon Dancer Paulina. She's going for about $1.48 right now. And so she has a GB1 effect that says when your Vanguard attacks, you can put her into Soul, and your Vanguard gets plus 10k. She's also a 15k shield, which is really nice. So it's also having like that same guard value from V Premium, but in Premium. And going into the Soul is not bad whatsoever, because once you start playing this deck, you know right away that your Soul is you're gonna go through your Soul super quick, and you just want to replenish it as much as possible. And riding once per turn is not gonna replenish it as much as you want. And also this will let you extend further with your plays if you need to overextend with your Soul Blasting. So it helps a lot, and so that's why we run 4 of her. And then we also run 4 Rumble Dagger on Draco Kid. They're going for $1 each right now. He has the continuous enhanced skill. When you're paying for stride, he counts for as a grade 3, so which is really nice, because in this deck you're only running 7 grade 3s, 4 Dungaree and 3 of Sigma. So you really don't want to discard Sigma for striding too much. It's fine discarding Dungaree, because once you get your first ride, you're kind of set, but you would like to keep on rewriting just for Soul and also additional Excel markers, which is really nice. But yeah, so we also run him. Same guard value as the V Premium triggers, which is nice, 15k shield. So that's why we run 4 of him. And then for our over trigger, since this is a budget deck, we are going to run 1 Spiritual King of Determination Olbari. They're going for 25 cents each right now, which is amazing. Cheapest over trigger you can find. when you check your over trigger, you can go ahead and remove it from the game. Give one of your units plus I think it's 1 million power, which is insane. And he has an additional effect where he can give another unit 1 million power. So you can give 2 units 1 million power. So if you have 2 counterblast open and you have at least 2 cards in hand or 1 card in hand, because when you check this you're gonna go ahead and draw 1 as well, you have 2 sigmas out, both of your sigmas got plus 1 million power. So if your opponent's at 5 damage or even 4 damage, if they're at 4 damage and you know they already went through a good amount of their sentinels, which they probably have only 1 left, you can go ahead and just start letting them have it. Swing. If they're at 5, you're literally going to have 4 1 million power attacks coming at your opponent's face, which is really nice. Does it happen all the time? No, but it does happen here and there. You know, it's an OT trigger. Don't really like them too much, but you know, they help you win games. They really do. And so that's it for the main deck. For the G deck, we're actually running 2 Concrete Supreme Dragon, Exterminate Dragon. They're going for $8 right now, and I would pick these up as soon as possible, just because I know the ban list is coming soon, and if they hit Narukami's best stride, then this is going to probably be the replacement, and his price would most likely go up. So I would probably pick up as much as you can as possible if you want to be serious with Narukami. But he's a very good grade 4. He has when placed on Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1 and draw a card for each one of your opponent's open rearguard circles. And then Axial Can Blast 1. All of your front row units get plus 10k for each one of your opponent's open front rows, rearguard circles. So it's really good. So if you get him and you get cho can actually start binding right away. So it'll just cost you 2 counterblasts, and you can for sure, most certainly, make sure that their opponent will at least have 1 open rearguard space, and then your whole front row will get plus 10k, which is really nice. So we run 2 of him. He's our main stride that you want to go into. Most of the time you want to go into him first, but if not, you can also go into our another stride that we play, which is Concrete Supreme Dragon Conquest full Garrett. Sorry for butchering these names, but they're going for $2 each right now. And he has Axe skill on Vanguard, Thunderstrike X. This card, you can. I apologize. Let's see. Oh yeah. It has the effect that turn a card from your G zone face up and discard a card, and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and bind it. And also and bind it for each face up card in your G zone. Retire them, bind them. Choose any number of your opponent's rear guards and name your G zone. Retire them, bind them, and all of your units get plus 1,000 power until the end of turn for each card in your opponent's bind zone. If your opponent's bind zone has 7 or more cards until the end of turn, this unit gets plus 1 drive. And then if your opponent has 10 or more cards in their bind zone, this unit gets plus 1 crit. So it's not the best stride, but it is a still pretty good stride that actually benefits from what we do in this deck, since we do bind a lot of cards from our hand, and we do have some cards that bind from your opponent's hand as well, and ours. So it actually can get this it actually can get to the plus 10k pretty frequently and pretty nice. But if you do, just remember that you want continuously striding, because if you go into him once, or if you go into Exterminate Dragon and then you go into Dungaree, just remember that your bind zone will go away, but your opponent's doesn't. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes people believe that Dungaree puts both bind zones and the drop zone, which it does not. So we run 4 of him. And then for the G guard, or actually we run 1 more stride. Concrete Supreme Dragon Draconic Vanquisher VMAX. So he has a GB3 effect, Thunderstrike 5, Counterblast 2 at the end of battle. If you're, I believe it says at the end of battle, if this unit attacked your opponent's Vanguard, if your opponent has no rear guards, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and deal 1 damage, and it has a continuous effect. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rear guards for each face-up Vanquisher and its card name in your G zone, and this unit battles both Vanguards and the units chosen for the attack and 1 attack. So he's going for 45 cents right now, which is really nice. And so if you apply a lot of pressure to your opponent and you start dwindling down their resources and they can't really make a field, this is just a funny way to get the auto win. But it's kind of gimmicky. It doesn't happen quite often, but it is nice to have it, and it's a very cheap, affordable stride that, you know, when it does happen, it's awesome because you get your free win. So we run one of him, and then we run one of the new G Guard, which is Sky Guardian Supreme Dragon Counteract Dragon. He has the skill where if your opponent when you guard with him, when this unit is put on Guardian Circle, your opponent chooses up to 2 of their front row rear guards and binds them. If they do not bind 2 cards, until the end of battle, this unit gets plus 10k. If they do not bind any cards, this unit gets additional plus 10k. So yeah, it becomes a 35k shield, which is really nice. They're going for about $3 right now, and so it is good in a way because it does provide you a lot of shield, but then it's not because it does bind your opponent's rear guards. If your opponent already attacked with a column, they're most likely not going to they're most likely going to bind with a column that already attacked. So this card is kind of good if you time it right, but that's why we only run one of it, which is really good though. And then we run one Sky Guardian Supreme Dragon Bulwark Dragon. He has the skill that he gets plus on Guardian Thunderstrike 3, he gets plus 10k shield, and also at the end of the battle that he guarded, for every 4 cards that you have in your bind zone, your opponent has to bind a rested front row unit, which is really nice. And he's also only going for 50 cents right now. So this is one of the cards that I would probably play more of if I had to go a little bit more budget, but he's really good. And yeah, it's 25k guard, retire bounds rear guards. What's not to like? And then we also run one Mystic Wisdom Creation Braham, which is going for 19 cents right now. And also he has a on play skill. You can bind two cards from your drop, and he gets plus 10k if they're both different grades. So even though you bind cards from yourself, it actually goes really well for a Dungaree skill if for 1 turn you do not stride. So it kind of sets up for that, which is nice, and it's a 25k card. What's not to like? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. And then this is optional, but I also run 2 Sky Guardian Supreme Dragon Embedded Dragon, which they're going for $7.25. He has the skill where it's a GB1. When you guard with him, you have to flip a G Guardian face up from your G zone, and then basically when you're when this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards, retires it, binds it face up. If the number of your rear guards is less than your opponent's rear guard by 2 or more, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. If you have an empty board and if your opponent's swinging at you with a full board, at least with 5 units, you can just G-guard twice with these guys and clear out that whole board except for 1 unit, which is really nice. He disturbs plays. Especially for rearguard reliant decks, he can mess up their attack patterns. It's just an amazing card. But if you don't want to go for paying $7.25 each for them, you can go ahead and play 2 more of the Bulwark Dragon that can retire the front row rear guards based on how many based off of every 4 cards in your opponent's bind zone. So if I was you, just run 2 more of him, and yeah, and your deck would be set. So for the premium version of the deck, it costs $52.10, but if you get it with embedded, then it becomes $66.10. And then the whole deck, including premium and V premium, the whole deck including premium and V premium costs $100. It costs $100. Oh, it's $1. I'm like, oh my. It costs $119.27. But if you add the embeddeds, then it's gonna cost $133.27. And it sounds like a lot right off the bat, $133 or $119, like for just a deck. And well, you gotta think about it as well. It's not just a deck for one format; it's a deck for 2 formats. So in a sense, you're paying $50 or $50 to $60 for each deck, and $60 for each deck. And it's a very good tech. It really is. Especially with Dungaree, I've gone against crazy matchups like Overlord. I've gone against Grand Blue, and it performs quite well. Like it really does a lot of work. It's really nice, and especially if Narukami and Premium is really good right now. But if the if the main strike gets hit, then this is the best guy right here, and then you'll be happy that you invested into these guys. And this is a post-ban, this is pre-ban list, of course, so I don't know what's going to happen with the ban list. And do know that prices do change, so if he starts going up, or if another card in the deck starts going up, just know that that's just how card games work. That's just how the market works. So I just try to be exact with the pricing as much as possible, just to help out any new players to just get into the game. And even if the premium stuff gets expensive where you don't feel comfortable as spending, then you can always just buy you can always just buy the V premium deck, which is only $67.16. And it might not just sound like, oh, that doesn't really sound too much as a budget deck, but it actually is, because V premium is getting kind of pricey. So, and it's a really good bang for your buck for sure. I'm not gonna lie, I've played this deck many times, I've tested it many times, and I have gotten a lot more positive results than I have negative. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched it all the way to this long, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I work hard on these videos. And if there's any other videos or any other clan that you would like me to do a budget V premium deck, or budget premium deck, or budget V and premium deck, just let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe and comment. It really does help out the channel a lot. It helps me out a lot. And yeah, until I see you guys next time, peace.